Welcome to the Steady Anchor Podcast, a podcast on Christian faith and practice, highlighting doctrine and discipleship in the local church. I'm Luke, and welcome to the show. Welcome back to the Steady Anchor Podcast. I am Luke, your host. It is Sunday, January 19th. I hope that your worship with your church family was good today. I hope that it was a blessing to you and you learned a lot from it. Today we're going to continue our journey through the book of Proverbs, our study where we go through 10 minutes a day or so, spending a time walking through the chapter, tracing the main themes, and seeing what God would say to us, how he would teach us to live a holy life, a wise life that is pleasing to him. With that being said, digging into the chapter 19 in the ESV. Better is a poor person who walks with integrity than one who is crooked in speech and is a fool. Desire without knowledge is not good, and whoever makes haste with his feet misses his way. When a man's folly brings his way to ruin, his heart rages against the Lord. Wealth brings many new friends, but a poor man is deserted by his friends. A false witness will not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies will not escape. Many people seek the favor of a generous man, and everyone is a friend to a man who gives gifts. All a poor man's brothers hate him. How much more do his friends go far from him? He pursues them with words, but does not have them. Whoever gets sense loves his soul. He who keeps understanding will discover good. A false witness will not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies will perish. It is not fitting for a fool to live in luxury, much less for a slave to rule over princes. Good sense makes one slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook an offense. A king's wrath is like the growling of a lion, but his favor is like dew on the grass. A foolish son is ruin to his father, and a wife's quarreling is a continual dripping of rain. House and wealth are inherited from fathers, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. Slothfulness casts into a deep sleep, and an idle person will suffer hunger. Whoever keeps the commandment keeps his life. He who despises his way will die. Whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will repay him for his deed. Discipline your son, for there is hope. Do not set your heart on putting him to death. A man of great wrath will pay the penalty, for if you deliver him, you will only have to do it again. Listen to advice and accept instruction, that you may gain wisdom in the future. Many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. What is desired in a man is steadfast love, and a poor man is better than a liar. The fear of the Lord leads to life, and whoever has it rests satisfied. He will not be visited by harm. The sluggard buries his hand in the dish and will not even bring it back to his mouth. Strike a scoffer, and the simple will learn prudence. Reprove a man of understanding, and he will gain knowledge. He who does violence to his father and chases away his mother is a son who brings shame and reproach. Cease to hear instruction, my son, and you will stray from the words of knowledge. A worthless witness mocks at justice, and the mouth of the wicked devours iniquity. Condemnation is ready for scoffers, and beating for the back of fools. This is the word of the Lord. So here we have in Proverbs chapter 19 a continuation of the general psalms and sayings of Solomon. Solomon, the wise king, writing down these things as sort of a father figure, instructing a son, showing him what is good and what is pleasing. Again, these are general principles. These are not all absolutes. They are not all commendations, but rather just describing the things as they are in most circumstances. We see a couple common themes here. Number one, verse 1, it's better to be in poverty with integrity, to be wealthy with wickedness. So better is a poor person who walks with integrity than one who's crooked in speech and foolish. So it's better to have little. It's better to be in poverty but have integrity, have purity of heart, have untainted hands, be not someone who is corrupt or wicked. It's better to be poor with integrity than to be anything else. Verse 3, The fool ruins himself and blames God. When a man's folly brings him to ruin, his heart rages against the Lord. So the foolish person is one who, by their own devices, by their own plans, goes to destruction. They live in a way that is unwise, is unfruitful, is unholy, is unpleasing to the Lord. And then when it comes back to bite them, when it falls apart, then they blame God for their circumstances. It's a foolish thing to do. Verses 5 and 9, deceit will not go unpunished. Verse 5, a false witness will not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies will not escape. Verse 9, false witness will not go unpunished. He who breathes out lies will perish. So a person who is deceitful, a person who bears false witness against their brother, a person who lies with ill intent, this person will be punished, and sooner or later. And we know as Christians that we will all be called into account for all the words that we have spoken. Jesus talks about that in, I think, Matthew 13 or 14. I think it's 13, that each of us will be called to account for all the foolish words that we have spoken. So for us as Christians, we know that our righteousness is in Christ, but for those who are outside of Christ, they will have to answer for all of their deceit, for all of the false witness that they have borne in the day of judgment. And for us as Christians, we know that the Lord disciplines those whom we love, and so he will also discipline us where we bear false witness against one another. Verse 11, wisdom is slow to anger. Good sense makes one slow to anger, and it is glory to overlook an offense. So the person who is wise is not quick to anger. They don't jump to get back and to retaliate for every small offense. Rather, they're willing to overlook the small stuff. They don't get bogged down by everything. They know to let stuff go and to be patient. Verse 14, a good wife is a gift from God. Is it? Yes, 14. House and wealth are inherited from fathers, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. This is continuing something we saw 1 or 2 chapters ago, where a good wife, a good spouse, a holy, wise partner, a prudent wife is something that God has given you. It's a blessing. It's a great thing. It's something we should seek after and pray to the Lord for, to find someone who is prudent, who is wise, who is kind, who is caring. And we'll learn more later in the book of Proverbs about what a good spouse looks like, what a good wife looks like. Verse 17, giving to the poor is almost the same as giving to God himself. We see that whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will repay him for his deed. So in the way that we are giving to the poor, we are giving in generosity in some way to Christ. As Jesus said, whatever you do for the least of these, if you give a cup of cold water to someone in my name, then you give a cold cup of water to me. In the same way that we saw the opposite a few chapters ago, that whoever hates the poor hates his maker. Whoever loves and is good to the poor loves and is good to his maker. Verse 18, discipline leads to life. Discipline your son, for there is hope. Don't set your heart on putting him to death. The statement that if you don't discipline your children, then it's acting as if there's no hope for them, that they're a lost cause, that you've consigned them over to a life of destruction. So we discipline our children. We are called to discipline our children as parents. We are called to show discipline in whatever aspects that it may be appropriate, so that they would live a good, holy, and pleasing life. Discipline is not optional. It is mandatory from God himself, because God, who designed marriage, the family, and parenting, has called us to parent with right discipline, not being overbearing, not being abusive, but to discipline rightly and with grace. Verse 21, God's purpose will stand. This again touches on the theme of sovereignty, which we've seen through the book of Proverbs. That many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. That regardless of what we may think, what we may try, what we may plot out, eventually God will get his way. That's what you get when you're the king of the universe, the sovereign king. And verse 24, this is an interesting verse on laziness, that the sluggard buries his hand in the dish and will not even bring it back to his mouth. It's like talking of a person who's so lazy that they dip their hand into the bowl to grab some food, and they're just like, too much work to bring it back to my face. So like it's a warning against laziness. It'll take you so far and bring you so low. Anyway, so we hope that you have a great day. We hope that you enjoy your Lord's Day. And if you like this, please share with a friend and join us again tomorrow. God bless.